Welcome back to Market on Close. I'm Marley, Kayden here in Chicago alongside Sam Vadas at the New York Stock Exchange. As we like to close the show out with some final thoughts on today's session, my focus is on the data we got today. Consumer confidence this month hit its lowest level since April, coming in at 94.2, which was below estimates and 3.6 points lower than August's reading. The present situation index also fell, with consumers' thoughts on job availability falling for the 9th consecutive month. Those surveyed are also planning to take fewer vacations, with plans to go on a trip, particularly internationally, falling to the lowest level we've seen in 5 months. And the Bureau of Labor Statistics released its JOLTS report this morning, showing employment availability in August was slightly better than the prior month. Job openings in August totaled 7.23 million. That was up 19,000 from July, but it was down 422,000 from a year ago. Federal Reserve officials do closely watch the JOLTS report to gauge the labor market slack, and August showed a slower pace in both hiring and total separations. The quits rate also ticked down further. That indicates that workers are more reluctant to give up their current jobs as we continue with this low hire, low fire environment. Now, those were some things that stuck out for me, Sam, especially ahead of what could potentially happen tomorrow. How about for you?
Yeah, well, obviously closing out what has been a winning month, and the Mag 7 has a lot to do with that. Today, we did see a bit of a mixed picture across the members, some ending in the red, some in the green. Meta was one of those in the red off the back of this announcement that CoreWeave will provide the company with $14.2 billion worth of computing power. CoreWeave providing Meta access to Nvidia's latest GB300 systems as part of that deal, and Mizuho also initiating coverage of Meta as one of its top picks there, with an outperform rating and a price target of $925. Now, Tesla was lower, but it actually ended in the green, and that came as the $7,500 EV tax credit comes to an end today. Tesla has a countdown clock on its website to help remind potential buyers of that deal. Despite that, though, as we've been talking about, Canaccord boosting its price target on Tesla to $490 and keeping a buy rating on the shares, citing more encouraging delivery numbers and expectations of new models, which could help sales. Also noting expected improvements in the energy storage business, not helping shares earlier in the day, but as I said, it did turn around at the end of the session, and it has had a good run. Shares up more than 60% since early June. And Nvidia, as we know, reaching a new high today. It punched through that $4.5 trillion market cap mark, and Citi raising the price target on the stock to $210, citing higher AI infrastructure forecast for the price target boost. Heading into tomorrow, Marley, what will you be looking out for?
I'm going to continue watching data, Sam. We're going to get ISM manufacturing data, ADP employment reports both tomorrow. September ISM manufacturing is expected to come in at 49.3%. Now, that would mean manufacturing is still contracting, albeit at a slower rate than we saw in August. Any number below 50 means a contraction. It would mark the 7th straight month of contraction if it does come in below 50. And then that all-important September ADP report comes out at 8:15. It's expected to be 47,500. That would indicate a slowing trend in hiring activity. The prior report showing that they added 54,000 jobs in August. Now, ADP is an independent measure of the private sector labor market, but it might be the only employment report that we get if there is a government shutdown that prevents the release of the jobs data on Friday. So that would generally be very important to the Fed and its rate-cutting decision-making. The absence of it could force the Fed to operate in some non-traditional ways, perhaps using ADP. How about you, Sam?
Yeah, similarly, I mean, watching this looming government shutdown, exactly what happens tonight is going to be key, Marley. I mean, not typically a market-moving event, as we've been talking about, but there is a feeling that it's a little bit different this time, and that's because, as you pointed out, the Labor Department saying it could mean Friday's jobs report won't be released, and that's key as far as a data point for the Fed ahead of its next policy meeting. No data means more uncertainty, and guess what? Markets don't like uncertainty. So the other big question for the markets is just how long this is actually going to drag out for, and what other economic data points will be impacted, which is crucial for the Fed's next step. Now, also, of course, watching for that reaction to Nike's earnings. We have seen shares up off the back of the numbers, but the conference call will get underway soon at 5 p.m. Eastern. So, Marley, obviously we want to hear about what the company has to say about this turnaround plan, how it's dealing with tariffs, the competition, the China market, and the latest products, and of course, the World Cup.
Yes, of course, they did post a top and bottom line beat, shares still in the positive, but no forecast yet, so the street is waiting for that. But that's going to do it for us today on Market on Close.